is I Do Damage, and welcome back to the channel. In this last Epoch video, I want to share a leveling build guide for totems and a shaman using Maelstrom type of playstyle. It's super fun, super flashy, and I can't wait to share it with you. Before we start, I just want to do a quick shout out to all you YouTube subscribers, new and old. You all are awesome, and you just make my day so much better. Let's go ahead and talk Shamans, last Epoch. This build I've been playing on stream, and I've kind of been getting some questions about it, and so that's why I wanted to make this video to kind of talk about it and show you what's up. So the big fun point of this build is this right here: your totems, your pets, and also Maelstrom. Maelstrom's going to be your main form of damage here, and you can just see how it just stacks up so much, and it's just fun. It's fun overall. Well, Maelstrom itself is a cold skill. We'll get all into all the juicy details and how you should spec each of your skills as you go along. So for this leveling guide, when you start out, you're going to want to pick up Summon Wolf and specialize into that ASAP. This skill you get very early on, and initially when I made this build, I didn't use Wolf. I actually was using Tornado, which is a viable option as well. However, I prefer Wolf for the main reason that you can actually put Maelstrom on it, command it where to go. So you have your own kind of sacrificial Maelstrom, if you will. So that was really cool. And also one of the viewers pointed out that if you do pick up Wolf, you can have it scale with attunement, which is going to be one of your main stats for this build. Basically what you want to do with this is you want to get as many companions out and also make it scale with the attunement like we talked about. So the way I did it was I come down here first to get more wolves. This is the path I took. So now you can have more wolves out. And it's just super nice early game to kind of have those pets rolling and kind of doing their thing. And then after that, I would come up here to the top right to be able to summon your wolves up to that maximum limit. Basically what that does is it makes it so you don't have to use the claw, which is basically does the exact same thing. And then you can actually use a yellow item on there and craft it to your liking to kind of fit our stat priority. And then after that, you'll want to come down here and pick up the attunement node so that it scales with attunement. After that, you can see I'm only level 16 in this because I just recently picked it up. I'm planning to put the rest of my points into Savage Hunters just to increase the wolves' damage. So that's going to be it for Summon Wolf. That'll be your very first skill out of the gate. The next skill that I would specialize into, and it's one of my all-time favorite skills, is Summon Thorn Totem. This recently saw a buff in one of the most recent hotfixes, patch 0.7.7e. This increased the damage output, and I think it also increased the health for the totems as well. Definitely a welcome change. Whenever I take Thorn Totems, not only for this build, but every build, I like to be able to summon at least 5 totems all at once, just to get out that damage quicker. So the way that we pull that off is you come up here, you'll only want to put 1 point in here, and then come over full 3, and then you want to grab Grove Mind, and basically what this does is it summons all your totems at once, and this is going to be super useful, so you don't have to spend tons of time putting out totems. And then after that, you'll come over here and put 2 more points into Forced Expanse, so you can get a total of 5 totems. The other thing I like to do, and I've experimented with this totem as well, and this is what I've kind of found to be the most viable. Since the skill is a cold build with Maelstrom, I tried to come down here to get a little bit of spell damage and spell cold damage and things like that to kind of cater to the theme of cold freeze type build, but it turned out that actually picking up more projectiles and then coming over here to make them home in on enemies proved to be a lot more useful and actually was a bigger damage output from what I could tell. And last but not least, you're going to want to come down here to Impale, and basically this just gives your thorns that come from your totem a chance to deal double damage. So super useful, more damage, why not take it, right? So that is skill 2 out of 5. The next skill on our list then is, of course, Maelstrom. You should have Maelstrom by this point. It's only level 15 in Primalist. You're going to want to specialize into that. You'll unlock your 3rd specialization. I think it is level 19. And the way that I have Maelstrom set up is obviously the bread and butter to this skill and this build is being able to cast that Maelstrom on your targets. And this is how you do it. Storm's Aid. So I pick up the full 5 out of 5 Turmoil. You have to have 4 at least to get to the link to get Storm's Aid. So I just throw an extra point in there to make it so the Maelstrom's bigger. And then you can also make it deal more damage when it's on a totem. You can obviously see why that's good. And also, since we're going to be spamming Maelstrom and it's going to be our main damage dealer, I wanted to be able to cast a lot of it. And that's why I came down here for mana efficiency. And the freeze rate multiplier is not very good. It was literally just to get to this node here. So yeah, I came down for the mana efficiency nodes and picked up these nodes to get there as well. I think with this last point, just looking at it now while I'm making the video, instead of going stack duration, you could do Eye of the Storm to get a little bit more damage out of this skill as well. But you're probably going to see a better increase there. So that's going to be it for Maelstrom. That is skill 3 out of 5. On to lucky number 4, and this is probably one of my favorite skills just because it is pretty flashy and has a pretty big range. You can't tell from here, but in the combat videos that are playing in the background, you've seen it. Shocking people and stuff. So this is Storm Totem, and you actually get this when you unlock the Shaman Mastery and you do the Mastery Rift and pick this, your reward that you get. So no other masteries can use this totem, only Shaman, and it's pretty cool. Let's talk about it, shall we? So the main thing I wanted from Storm Totem was to also kind of fit that cold theme, the cold build, cold damage, as well as just making the thing do a ton of damage. So that's what we've done. We've gone obviously over into these chill chants and the frostbite effect for the totem. Basically what frostbite's going to do is it lasts for 4 seconds, reduces their cold protection, and deals 15 damage over time. It's pretty much for that, for the cold protection, shred, or reduction, whatever you want to call it, just so we can get more damage out of the Maelstrom. And then also I came up here for more cold spell damage on the totem as well. And then a chill chance. Looking at this now, I could probably tweak this a bit more. Maybe get more of a hit damage on there, but a more of a cost or a bigger area. Quite a few different options, but this is the route that I took while leveling up. So that's that area, and then we come down here for cast speed, and then the area of the totem, which is already pretty big, so just a little bit more helps. But really it was to get down here to Thunder Totem, and just so you know, you're not going to actually see Thorn Totem. It's not going to look any different. The only way that you're going to know that it's there is by actually putting your cursor over them. It looks identical to just a normal Storm Totem. They don't have the asset in the game yet, so there you go. You can see they're the exact same. So that is skill 4 out of 5. Man, we're trucking right through these, aren't we? Last but not least is our mobility. All my builds, I don't know why, but I like to save my mobility skill for the level 49 mastery. Just because, well, I want to get more damage out of my other skills. But Fury Leap, if you haven't seen Fury Leap, it's pretty freaking ridiculous. You can really jump quite a ways. I mean, check that out, man. It's insane. So this is going to be one of your staple skills leveling up, just to get you out of harm's way, get you through the maps quicker, things like that. So I've done pretty much just kind of tried to make the skill kind of better, I guess. I don't know. Not a main damage or anything. This is all just kind of passive thing. Well, pretty much we made so that when I land, the area is bigger, does more damage. Again, doesn't do that much damage. It's not cold or anything like that. And then a crit multiplier. You can even come over here and get your lightning bolts, which look pretty cool and they look pretty flashy. So hey, why not, right? Lightning bolt projectiles from your Lagoon's Wrath. And then also you had kills with lightning bolts have a chance to reset the cooldown. It's not going to happen. And to be honest with you, man, there's probably way more viable options for this. But that's what looked most appealing to me, and so that's what I did. But many other options exist. You can come down here and get a 3-second buff to increase your damage, your minions' damage. It would also affect your thorns, because your thorns do count as minions. There's quite a lot here, but this is what I've taken for leveling up. Hopefully one day I will get around to doing a endgame build for this, but this is, again, the 5 skills I used while leveling up, and I think will be the most fun for you while leveling up as well. So now that you know the 5 skills that I use for this build, let's go ahead and talk about passives, shall we? You're going to start out as a Primalist. That's going to be your base class. You're going to need to put 20 points into here before you can unlock your mastery. So for the passives, I went Attunement, because that's going to be one of your main stats to really up your character's potential, as well as the Elemental Protection, which is really good, especially early game. And then after that, you're going to want to come up here to minion damage, and this will affect your totems as well as your pets. You can see my skill tree is different, and that's because I haven't done a lot of min-maxing here. I just leveled up and did a little bit of endgame for fun. Because, hey, the build's fun to play. So there you go. So I'd pick up Primal Medicine to get your minion damage. You get a full 25% there. And then after that, you have 7 points left to spend. You're definitely going to want more minion damage and spell damage. And to be honest, dude, you could go a full 6 there just to get all that damage. And last but not least, if you have an active minion, you deal more damage. So there you go. You can kind of pick and choose here. You're probably going to benefit more if you go the full 5, and then the rest of your points you just put in Wisdom of the Wild. And then if you do want even more damage, and even later on after you've gone into Shaman, you can kind of backtrack here into Tempestborn and get a little bit more cold damage out. That'll help you out as well. So once you're level 20 here, you'll unlock your Shaman Mastery. And this is what I've done here. Obviously, I go full damage. That's the name. I do damage, right? We gotta do damage. That's gotta live up to that name, I guess, right? Anyway, so I'd go a full 8 out of 8 there. Come on over here, get a little bit of health, just because these other nodes are kind of whatever, not super great for this build. So once you've unlocked your Shaman tree, you're gonna want to go into full damage here, 8, and then 16. And then you can do 2 here, or 4 just to bring it straight up to 10. Or 8, so you'll have 8, 16, and then put 4 points in here so you're at 20. And then you can come up here for even more cold damage. Again, I would try to max these out. You really want a lot of cold damage as well. And after that, I would come over here for all protections granted per active totem. This is going to just help you out with defenses, and then also you can focus on getting more damage stats on your gear and items that you roll. And then after that, I've gone into a little bit of movement speed to kind of help me out with survival and kind of getting out of the way. Totem health, there's quite a bit here, but like I said, this build will get you out, started on the right foot. As it is right now, my character's only level 66, so you'll be around level 45 when you beat the story. I plan to do more min-maxing and kind of really more of an endgame build. But hey, as it is right now, that's what I did. The build's really fun to play, and I enjoy coming back to it. So now that you know about skills and passives, let's talk items, uniques, and stat priority. Basically, the way that I understand it is there's a super good unique out there for the Shaman that I am just missing out on. And this weapon is called Tempest Maw. Basically, it's a melee lightning damage, spell lightning damage, less mana cost for your totems, strength and attunement come on there as well. And whenever you summon a totem, you also summon 4 storm sprites around the totem. I haven't gotten my hands on this weapon, but I've been told that it's pretty good. So maybe one day I'll be lucky enough to pick it up and check it out. So if you can find it, you might want to incorporate that into your build as well. Other than that, the majority of the gear I have used in this build is crafted. I'm sure there's probably other uniques out there that you can probably find that are a little bit better. But basically, the way that I want to do this is I just want to tell you a stat priority and just a general rule of thumb. And this is going to apply to a lot of builds initially. And this is your armor and protections. You want to aim for at least 50 elemental, void, necrotic, and poison protections, and at least 70 armor. And I'm talking about the percent, not the number here. Make sure you're looking at these percents. That should be your goal if you don't want to die. And also, glancing blow is another very important stat as well. This actually caps at 100%. I'm over cap right now. I usually don't prioritize dodge or block chance, but that's how your protections are going to look. So what that means is for your stat priority, you're going to want attunement, spell damage, and or cold damage. Those will also help. Cold damage and spell damage will be the same. Same with elemental damage. Those are all kind of the same thing. Anything that's going to increase that cold damage output. You're also going to want to sneak a little bit of crit chance in there. You can see my crit chance is very low, and that is a problem. You're going to want a little bit higher than that. And then you also need to fit in your elemental protections, void, necrotic, poison, which you can actually get off of vitality as well, and armor. You're going to need to really min-max and try to get the best balance that you possibly can with the goals in mind that I told you about the protections. But when it comes to damage, really focus on that attunement, spell damage, cold damage, elemental damage, crit chance. Those types of things are really going to up your damage. while trying to maintain the balance of not dying, which I struggle with all the time. So hey, there you go. That's your unique item you should use and your stat priority. Let's talk about idols. Idols were added just recently to the game, about a patch or two ago, and they've added quite a bit of interesting mechanics to the game. One trick I found on a side note is glancing blow idols seem to be a pretty good way to help get you up to that cap when first starting out. So if you come across any early game glancing blow idols, make sure you hold on to them and use them, because that's really going to help you out a lot. And they do seem pretty common at early stages of the game. Later on, you'll come across some of these big boy ones where you can see I get a 20% chance for a glancing blow. Like, that's huge. Freaking huge. And let's see, I also got chance on hit to summon a Thorn Totem. Probably not going to happen, but I am using this for the cold damage that you can see on there as well. And then casting speed for totems. Anything that has totems in it, or minion damage, or spell, or anything that we talked about with the stat priority. And just a side note on stat priority, I did leave out minion damage, and that was actually on purpose because a lot of your damage isn't really from your minions, it's actually from the Maelstrom ticks. So that's just a little side note there for you. You can pick up some minion damage if you want, but cold damage, spell damage, elemental damage is going to be more of a damage output than minion damage will be. So that's pretty much it for idols. You want to just focus on your cold damage and glancing blow type of idols. There's other options in the game as well. And as we get late game, we're going to find even better idols that you can use in the game. So like I said, hopefully that'll all come later down the road when I get around to doing an end game build for this. Last but not least, and it has to be in every single guide, and you've probably seen a little bit of it during the video, but here you go. I'll go ahead and just do a quick little monolith of time for you, just to kind of show you how the build works and commentate on it a little bit. And then I'll let the gameplay play out for about 30 seconds or so, some music for you to enjoy. So basically the playstyle of this game is getting out your 3 wolves, and as soon as you find monsters to fight, so basically you're going to want to just open up with your Thorn Totem, Storm Totem, and then spam Maelstrom. You also want to make sure you get your Howl in there as well, because that will buff up your totems. But like I stated earlier, it's all from that Maelstrom damage. It's not really from your totems at all. At least once you get to the point where you can cast Maelstrom on your totems. Starting out early game, you know, maybe do a little bit of minion damage until you can actually get the Maelstroms out on your totems. But yeah, as you get later on, yeah, it'll all make sense. So here you go. I'll kill this Beastmaster, and then I will shut up and let the gameplay commence. There you go. I hope you enjoyed this build guide video from I Do Damage. I know I had fun making it, and I sure as hell had a lot of fun playing it. I hope you do too. Let me know down in the comments, is there ways I can improve the build, maybe some things that I missed, or should definitely focus on going into the end game further? I can't wait to hear from you guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe, share the video with everyone you know, and as always, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.